back. In this section, we're going to modify the terminal to make it a little bit more user-friendly as a developer. Right now, if you open the terminal, the command prompt doesn't really tell you much. It tells you that your computer name, but it doesn't really tell you what directory you're in. And it's nice to have a more beefed up terminal. And so I like to use iterm too. So I'm going to download that right now. It'll download to your downloads folder, and I'm going to go there and actually move it to my applications folder. So if we go to downloads, it's going to be here. I'm going to drag it to my applications, and then I'm going to go to my applications, and I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to dock it. Okay, so here's iterm 2. Now we actually want to go a step further. There's a guy on the web who's got nice scripts that he's modified the bash profile, which is some settings that you have in your home directory. I like to use his modifications for colors, which will actually take this a step further and make your iterm even better. So let's go ahead and we're going to download those files he's created for us here. So we're downloading his version of his bash profile here, and we're going to download the bash prompt. And then finally, the aliases that he's created so far. Alright, so now let's close this out and see what happens. So now you can see it's asking us to install the developer tools, and we'll do that. We need to install the Xcode tools, so go ahead and do that. You always want to install that, make sure it's installed. Eventually, some tool is going to ask you to install it in this tool. This did prompt me this time, so I'm going to install it. So what's nice about this, it tells you you're in your home directory, which is the squiggly here. And this comes in handy when you're using Git, because if you're branching in Git, you have no idea what branch you're in unless you do a Git branch or you can see Git branch, or then you can see Git status to see what branch you're in. But why not know what you're already in by just doing this, by using this nice updated version of the terminal. So we're done with this. We've got our terminal nicely decorated now. More information for us. Let's go ahead and start installing other tools such as HomeBrew. So I'm going to install HomeBrew, which is a nice tool that allows us to install other tools much easier. So let's go to HomeBrew, install that. So it's a package manager for OSX, and it's nice. It allows us to install stuff without having to go to the websites to install them. It's by command line. You literally type a few things, it ports them down, downloads the application, installs it for you, stuff like Git. So I'll go ahead and use this and install HomeBrew first. HomeBrew is a bunch of Ruby scripts, so that's why you're seeing Ruby here. It's asking me for my Mac password. Alright, so now HomeBrew is installed. And the first thing I want to install is Chrome, which is nice here. I can just say brew, install. Actually, let's do we have to install Cask, which is an extension. It's a nice extension of HomeBrew. So let's install Cask first, actually. Let's go ahead and install that now. Brew Cask. And this is just some more sugar on top of brew, basically. First, let's install Cask first. So alright, so now we've got HomeBrew and Cask installed. Now we can just simply go like this for installing Chrome. It'll pull down from the web, install Chrome for you all in one shot. So it's downloading Chrome. All right, so now Chrome should be installed. So if we do a command space and search for Chrome, it's installed, as you can see. And so we can just go ahead and open it up, and we can dock it. And then we can get rid of crappy Safari. All right, so we've installed Chrome using HomeBrew and Cask. Again, Cask is a layer on top of HomeBrew. So next thing we want to do is actually install Git. So we're going to do, and so another thing HomeBrew does is if you install certain things like Git, first of all, you don't have to go to the website to download Git and install it. Second of all, HomeBrew is a package manager that smooths things out. Like if you install Node.js, uninstalling Node is a pain in the ass. But if you've got HomeBrew, it installs it into a certain location for HomeBrew, and it manages the uninstalls for some of these things that would have been a nightmare. It makes uninstalls easy for some of these things too. So HomeBrew has a lot of benefits to it, and that's one of the reasons I use it to install certain things. I don't always use HomeBrew for everything. For example, if I'm coding in Node, I just install middleware. I just do npm, install whatever middleware usually. But for things like Chrome and things like Git, I'll use HomeBrew for that. So we're going to do brew install Git. We're going to install Git now through HomeBrew. So it's downloading Git. So if we go Git, so we know that Git's installed because we just checked the version. So in literally 10 seconds, we've gone up and downloaded Git, installed it, and we're done. That's why I like HomeBrew so much. All right, the next thing I want to install is Node.js, since we're going to be, since these podcasts are going to be showing examples of coding with Node. So I'm going to do brew install Node. Again, it's downloading the latest Node, which is 4.2.1, which is what I want, because that now has ES6 script, ES6 JavaScript in it natively now. All right, so Node's installed. Let's check it, make sure. So we see that Node 4.2.1 is installed, and Brew just did that in 2 seconds. Now let's do let's check the npm version. So npm is installed too, which is a package manager for Node. So now we're all set to start working with Node, and I'm going to be doing that with an IDE called WebStorm. And a lot of people use Sublime or they'll use Atom. I like WebStorm. It's got a lot more bells and whistles. It's got debugging environment. It's just, to me, it's a real professional editor in my opinion. It's worth the money. It's pretty cheap. It's like $100. And so if you're familiar with ReSharper, it's got the IntelliJ right inside WebStorm. So WebStorm gives you awesome IntelliSense for JavaScript too. Makes your experience with JavaScript pretty awesome in WebStorm. So once again, let's use brew Cask to install WebStorm. Now, it depends on, obviously, if you don't have a license for the latest, you just go manually to the WebStorm website and download whatever version you have a license for. But I do have a license for this, so I'm going to download the latest through HomeBrew. There's probably a way you can probably download specific versions from HomeBrew Cask, but I'm not looking into that right now. All right, so WebStorm should be installed. Let's check and see. Yeah, here it is. So open it up and let's dock it. We've got to install Java first, so it does use Java. So let's install Java. And no, this won't bog your machine down. I don't use keychain. I don't like it. So I would rather retype my password every time I install something. OSX keychain has been a pain in my ass. I don't know if it's just me, but it will lose passwords. It just does funky stuff that gets in my way, so I don't like using it unless I have to. So anyways, so now we got Java installed. Let's go and try to open up WebStorm again. So let's do command space, there's WebStorm, and then now we're actually going to dock it. We don't have any previous versions of it. Let's go ahead and dock it right now. I'll put the licensing key in later just to save time here. So let's evaluate for now. So we've got WebStorm 10. WebStorm 11 is coming out pretty soon. It's in beta right now. And I have actually put a ticket in that they resolved for running some Mocha.js tests in their test runner. WebStorm has a nice test runner for Mocha tests. And usually you want to run all your tests every time you change your code, but sometimes you want to right-click on one test and just run it. And there was a bug in 10.0 that wouldn't let you do that. If you try to right-click a Mocha test in your suite, it would bomb out. It couldn't find the Mocha configuration. So they fixed that in WebStorm 11. So just note that if you're doing test-driven development or any kind of testing with Mocha tests. So I usually use the macOS 10.5 scheme. And so now we got WebStorm here. I'm going to stop this Downcast at this point. The next Downcast we'll get into creating a new Node project with WebStorm, and we'll start the beginnings of setting up a new application in Node and doing test-driven development, stuff like that. Until then, I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time.